Essays. A Cruel Energy Flow Diagram. Xiefeng. June 7, 2021. The day before yesterday, in the afternoon, I knelt on a mat to weed, loosen the soil, and fertilized the roses in front of the guest rooms. Why was the whole process of working so joyful? Because the roses were growing vigorously. I feel joy when I look at flourishing roses, and because of my joy, I like to weed them, loosen their soil, fertilize them, and finally water them. The cruel reality is somewhat different, however. More attention and energy should have been given to the weak ones. The strong ones can strengthen themselves and do not need much effort or care. The weaker that one is, the less care and energy they will be given. The stronger that one is, the more care and energy they will be given. You see, the higher one's official rank is, the more supporters and flatterers they will have, and the more people who will be sending them gifts. The more successful a business is, the more money banks like to lend to them, and the easier it is for them to borrow money and raise funds. The more handsome a man is, the more capable he is, and the more that beautiful women will want to marry him. Some men have married dozens or even hundreds of wives, and all of them were beautiful, gentle, and capable, but many men cannot find a single wife and can only remain lonely bachelors. The drier a place is, the less likely it will be receiving rain, but the wetter a place is, the more rain that will fall. The better, the more prosperous; the worse, the bleaker. Is this the law of nature? I consider myself a saint, so why do I also prefer the lush Chinese rose flowers from the bottom of my heart? I will expose more of my thoughts here. The more beautiful and sexier one looks, the more I like them. Oh my God! Is that what a saint is like? I used to be a permanent resident of Zimbabwe, so why did I leave? I went to Vanuatu and wanted to build a home there, so why did I not? I am a Chinese citizen, so why did I leave my birth country and settle down in Canada? It turns out that essentially, I like better living environments. I finally understood what Christ Jesus meant when he said, "For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath." This is the energy flow diagram. After seeing and understanding this energy flow diagram, as people, we must strive to make ourselves excellent all round. The more excellent, the more energy one will get, and the more imperfect, the less energy they will get. It is useless to complain, to cry and shout, to blow up, or to have trouble with others. The only way that works is for you to make yourself excellent. This is the true meaning of God helps those who help themselves. A messages for future Chinese leaders. Xiefeng. November 1, 2021. If you can make people live and work in peace and contentment, and make people live joyously, happily, freely, and blessedly, you are the savior of the world, and you are the Ziwei saint. If you do not let the common people live and work in peace and contentment, and don't let people live joyously, happily, freely, and blessedly, you are a bastard, a living devil. I will provide you with some ideas for reference. Follow America. West Germany followed the United States and became prosperous and strong, while East Germany went against the United States and became poor and desolate. South Korea followed the United States and became brilliant, while North Korea did the opposite and became closed and backward. Without theoretical analysis or logical reasoning, facts have proved that following the United States will be beneficial to the country and its people. In the era of confrontation with the United States, China was poor and backward. Due to China's reforms and opening up, China and the United States now have harmonious relations, and China's economy has grown by leaps and bounds. Therefore, we must follow the United States. A strong entrepreneur, not a strong government. Allow thousands of entrepreneurs to be born and become stronger. Let the invisible hand of the market support or eliminate entrepreneurs. The government administration should not interfere with business. It is necessary to weaken or even abolish the governmental administrative agencies at and below the county level, and let entrepreneurs replace and exercise government functions there. And at the same time, liberalize the development of civil society organizations, and allow civil society organizations and entrepreneurs to form a system of checks and balances. Make trade channels unobstructed and allow people to move around freely. Do not obstruct the sea, business, internet and borders, and fully open it all up. Let businessmen from all over the world come and go freely in China. Let academic groups and people from all over the world communicate and exchange information freely in China, and let Chinese people freely enter and leave the country to everywhere in the world to study, do business, establish enterprises, travel, and settle. It is not only necessary to recognize dual nationality, even triple or 100 nationalities, and allow for Chinese citizens to have multiple nationalities. The government should not participate in economic activities. There is infinite wisdom, vitality, and creativity among the people. They know how to survive and how to improve their lives. Entrepreneurs are more far-sighted than government officials. Dissolve all state-owned enterprises and leave banking, power, communications, transportation, etc. all to entrepreneurs to operate. As long as economic activities are involved, the government should not participate. The government should only be in charge of 5 things: foreign affairs, national defense, combating crime, combating monopolies, and providing free education and medical care. Except for setting up a press release office, leave it to society to run all media and let them run various news and information dissemination media on behalf of their own interests. Allow them to say anything they want to and allow journalists to exist in every corner of the country. The power of journalists should be stronger than that of the police, while the government does not need to pay for the journalists, which is a good deal. Establish the awareness that private property is sacred and inviolable. The state cannot deprive its citizens of private property, nor can any political party or religious group. Only by ensuring the safety of private property can the country prosper. The people will live a happy life in peace and contentment, and money from all over the world will flow into China. At the same time, it should be guaranteed that private residences will not be disturbed by anyone. With private residences, the rule should be, the wind can enter, the rain can enter, and the king cannot enter. Without a reliable clue to prove that the residents have violated the law, the police should not be allowed to enter. Allow various faith-based groups to operate freely. Learn from the ecological diversity of nature and let all kinds of faith groups spread their teachings and ideas freely. The government should not support any faith groups, nor should it crack down on them, but leave them to live and die on their own. Abandon such disputes as doctrine and truth. Only think about and talk about how to make the common people live and work in peace and contentment, and do not talk about and argue about the advantages of capitalism, socialism, and communism, let alone talking about fighting and dedicating to the truth. As long as the general public likes it, shitism is acceptable. Do not assist poor countries, do not help backward countries, but you can provide emergency relief when disasters or special situations occur. To provide living security for the brave. As long as people are disabled because of their bravery for righteousness, the state should provide them with a free lifetime pension which should not be lower than the national average standard of living. If they sacrificed their lives for righteous causes, the government must not only arrange and take care of all their funeral affairs, but also take care of their parents for the rest of their lives and provide education and other guarantees for their children until they graduate from school. The government should not care about private matters between the sexes. The sexual life between members of the opposite sex is a personal matter, and it belongs to the freedom of life. As long as both parties are willing, the government should ignore it, make no comments, let alone kidnap and judge them with high standards of moral and quality. It doesn't matter whether it is one wife with many husbands, one husband with many wives, 3 or 4 people having sex together, or thousands or 10,000 people together, the chairman and the secretary, a master and an apprentice, husband with mistresses, having an affair every night, as long as the participants are willing, without hurting others, then let everything flow eastward. To future Chinese leaders, may you be the Ziwei saint who comes to the world, and may you understand the principle of holography. If you can manage China with the principle of holography, China will become the center of human civilization and the whole world will praise your wisdom and greatness. A prayer for Chanyuan celestials to create beautiful dreams. Xiefeng. December 7, 2010. Preface. Life is like a dream is like life. Life is but a dream is also your life. People have lots of dreams throughout their lives, so let every one of them become splendid and fantastic so that they can wander in beautiful dream worlds every night. Dreams are also supplements, links to great lives. A dream is a reflection of a person's state of consciousness, physiology, and soul. Good people have good dreams, evil people have nightmares. In order to enjoy beautiful dreams, you must first obtain a good consciousness, physical health, and a beautiful soul. If one's consciousness is a mess, has many physiological defects, or has a soul garden that is full of weeds such as jealousy, resentment, anger, anxiety, selfishness, greed, laziness, arrogance, and so on, then they cannot enjoy beautiful dreams. Chanyuan celestials are baptized by the values of Life Chanyuan and are building their own soul gardens. In order to cooperate with the construction of these soul gardens, this prayer for Chanyuan celestials to create beautiful dreams was composed. Lie naked on your bed. Take 8 deep breaths and clear your mind. Forget all the problems of your past day. Rid yourself of all unhappy thoughts. Remain peaceful and simple. Meditate on the beauty of the 1,000-year world or the 10,000-year world for 3 minutes and read the prayer below attentively. The prayer for creating beautiful dreams. Loving greatest Creator with my infinite reverence. I am lying in your warm, comfortable, safe, and gentle embrace. Your spiritual light embraces my whole body. As spring rain moisturizes seedlings. Brightness and beauty are falling on me. All is harmonious and peaceful. The night is sacred and the earth is quiet. The air is filled with the fragrance of flowers. The first faint glimmer of dawn twinkles in the distance. Tomorrow's world will be more beautiful than today's was. I am a beautiful flower fairy, I am a beautiful elf. I am a baby with your special care and blessing. I am always bathed in your spiritual light wherever I go. With neither fear nor darkness. I can enjoy running and playing on the prairie. And in the river as much as I can to my heart's content. Nothing can hurt me, my world is full of joy and safety. My future is beautiful, I yearn for it infinitely. Following your messenger, I have neither worries nor hesitation. Flowers pave the road ahead of me. The great beauty of my hometown, the 1,000-year world, beckons to me. I am a fairy, I am an angel, I can fly in the vast blue sky, ah. The feeling of flying is so comfortable and joyous. I want to fly. Fly to the distant hometown of heaven. Oh dear greatest Creator. Thank you for all that you have bestowed upon me. I am no longer sad and have no worries. I have taken the path that you have arranged for me. The road ahead is clear and my future will continue to become more joyous and full of brightness, pleasure, and happiness. Ah, peaceful night. I am so happy to be lying in your arms. The fragrance of affectionate love follows me on my path to heaven. Gods, Buddha, angels are with me. Tonight is full of fresh flowers and sweet dreams, and I will enter dreamland and my dreams will be sweet and beautiful. Amen. Attention. The magic of the above prayer lies in your consciousness. Everything that has been inlaid to your consciousness will be realized even it seems illusory. Sense it in your heart, and create it with your consciousness. Copy or print the above prayer in a larger font, and read them in silence. If you are still unable to fall asleep, then read them twice or 3 times till you fade into the dream world. A probe into the relationship between appearance and quality. Xie Feng. April 14, 2019. Is there any relationship between a person's physical appearance and their life quality? Let us analyze it. First, I would like to make it clear that this is only my personal opinion, or a quick view, but maybe a wrong conclusion. If you disagree, you can absolutely stick with your observation and analysis. Anyway, just do not swear at me. Relation 1. The prettier the physical appearance, the more beautiful the soul. Relation 2. The uglier the physical appearance, the more beautiful the soul. Relation 3. There is no direct relationship between physical appearance and the beauty of the soul. The conclusion of my observation is that people with more beautiful physical appearances have more perfect life qualities. I know that this result is beaten by countless examples, such as Hugo's Notre Dame de Paris. In it, there are 4 main characters: Esmeralda, Claude, Quasimodo, and Phoebus. Claude looks great and talented, but is sinister, vicious, hypocritical, cunning, mean, and selfish. Phoebus is also handsome and unrestrained, but he is sinister, cunning, hypocritical, rude, frivolous, and vile. Quasimodo is in sharp contrast to Claude and Phoebus. Quasimodo looks very ugly, but is kind and loyal, rich in justice, pure, and innocent. Esmeralda looks beautiful, but is simple and pure, kind and innocent, compassionate and sympathetic. She is the only one who is consistent with my conclusion. Let us look at Su Daji in the Legend of Deification. She looks beautiful and coquettish with a graceful figure, but she is a snake, scorpion-hearted, and inexplicably vicious, which is completely contrary to my conclusion. But hold on, let us analyze and spy through the huge and voluminous chaotic phenomena to see if there are some rules that can be discovered and followed. There have been 10 very handsome men in Chinese history. They were Pan'an, Song Yu, King Lanling, Zidu, Wei Jie, Morong Chong, Song Wengong, Han Zigao, Dugu Xian, and Ji Kang. They all share the features of having very charming styles, were exceedingly beautiful, tall and slender, handsome in shape, possessing smooth skin, and were natural, unrestrained, and graceful. As for their characters, there are many praises with very few derogatory words for any of them. This shows that good-looking people are not always bad. There have also been 10 very beautiful women in Chinese history. In addition to the fish sinking, birds alighting, breathtaking Shi Shi, Wang Zhaojun, Jiao Chan, and Yang Guifei, there have also been Feng Xiaolian, Su Daji, Zhao Fian, Jing Dan, Bao Si, and Jun Mi. These women's beautiful appearances cannot be overstated, but except for the praises of Shi Shi, Wang Zhaojun, Jiao Chan, and Yang Guifei, the moral qualities of Su Daji, Bao Si, and the rest are mostly negative. What are the relationships between their appearances and characters? History has long passed, so we cannot go back to live with them and study any of them. The characters in the literary descriptions only represent the writer's uses of the past to satirize the present or to express their own feelings and aesthetic values with the help of their character images, which is not enough for factual evidence. For example, the white bone spirit, fox spirit, spider spirit, jade stone lute spirit, and white rabbit spirit in Journey to the West, and the fox spirit, especially the painted skin in Strange Tales of a Lonely Studio, can only be treated as characters in novels, but not as facts for judging the nature of real people. For that, we can only use factual, scientific, logical, and spiritual approaches to analyze them. In reality, there are no less than 400 people who have had relatively deep interpersonal relationships with me. My observation of them is that the more beautiful the person appears, the purer their character is. From a scientific point of view, appearance is the expression of reality and the external form of the non-material structure of life. The more perfect the structure is, the more symmetrical and beautiful its appearance is. It can also be seen from Water knows the answer, that the more beautiful and kinder the reality is, the more beautiful the shape that it projects will also be. And it can be concluded from this alone that the better the inner quality is, the more pleasing to the eye its appearance will be. From a logical point of view, if there is a flaw in something, then something must be wrong with its foundation. The appearance of a building is determined by its drawing, which is determined by the architect's aesthetics and knowledge and experience of designing structures. You picked up a porcelain bowl and found at the bottom of the porcelain bowl was slightly flawed. This flaw was not caused by the bowl itself, but by its mold, that is, the bottom of the mold was flawed. Therefore, the appearance of a person is determined by their inner quality. The better their quality, the nicer their appearance; the poorer their quality, the ugly their appearance. In terms of spiritual sense, when I lived in a 1,000-year world, I saw that every man was handsome and elegant and every woman was glamorous and charming. Later, through the continent for 3 realms lives to pass through, I found that the men and women in the 10,000-year world were even more delicate and beautiful than the ones in the 1,000-year world. The 1,000-year world and 10,000-year world are within the kingdom of heaven, so people in both places are pure of heart and noble of character. This further proves that there is a direct proportional relationship between appearances and characters, which means that the better the former, the more beautiful the later. The phenomenon that now confuses us is that many handsome men and lovely women in our world have looks that are nowhere nearly proportional to their inner qualities. That is to say, some people who look pleasing to the eye are rather ruthless when dealing with interpersonal relationships, while some people who cannot make people look back at them are kind-hearted and genuinely decent. So what is going on here? After observing and considering many people for a long time, I found that the problem is that no matter how someone looks, once they step into business, a battlefield, officialdom, Vanity Fair, love, or a casino, their soul will be affected by money, power, fate, fame, gain, carnal pleasure, and other such things. They will not be the same individual that they were in Tathagata, but will have been driven by the devil's program and will have become obsessed with money, power, fame, carnal pleasure, fate, fortune, and will have lost their natures. We therefore draw the conclusion that appearance is directly proportional to quality, but for people in corrupting environments and situations, appearance has nothing to do with quality and we cannot judge people that way. You need to be careful where appearances and quality do not match, lest you reap beans from melon seeds. From this, we learn the big secret that if a person wants to restore their Tathagata nature to go to heaven, then they must not enter the vortex related to money, power, fame, gain, and carnal pleasure. If they do, then their pure and beautiful souls will be distorted, their Tathagata nature will be covered up, and their appealing looks will be trampled on and defiled by their very selves. Unless rigorous cultivation enters their lives, their future destinations will definitely be bad. Another truth that I discovered is that if a person gets along well with others with whom they have no direct interest, and if they are beautiful, then we can basically conclude that their quality is also beautiful. My final conclusion is that when a person is in a state of selflessness, their appearance and life quality complement each other. The more beautiful their appearance is, the more perfect their life quality is also. A small capitalist discusses Xiafeng-style communism. Xiafeng. January 30th, 2024. I was born into poverty and, through hard work, became a minor capitalist for a time. After becoming a capitalist, I employed 2 workers in my home. One was a young girl responsible for washing clothes, cleaning dishes, and maintaining indoor cleanliness. The other was a middle-aged man responsible for maintaining flowers, trees, lawns, swimming pools, keeping vehicles clean, and feeding 2 large wolf dogs. The gate didn't require management because it was a remote-controlled electric gate. This comfortable and leisurely life lasted for over a decade, and I have the following insights. For society to progress, there must be wealth disparity, and there must be upper, middle, and lower tiers. The upper tier thinks, the middle tier understands management, and the lower tier serves the upper and middle tiers. This is an ideal social situation. Equal poverty or common prosperity will result in everyone not being able to live a comfortable and leisurely life. There are a small number of people in the population who are good at thinking and taking risks. If they are asked to do management or service, they cannot do it well. That would be a waste of a lot of resources in society. The middle tier is good at and understands management. They don't think long-term. Letting them do service work would make them feel unwilling. The lower tier doesn't want to think and doesn't understand management. It's very suitable for them to do service work. In this way, everyone is happy. I employed 2 workers in my home. Because I got rid of the trivial and time-consuming housework, I could have plenty of free time to study and improve my ability to manage things and handle more important work. And the 2 workers, because I employed them, not only had food to eat and a house to live in, but also could take care of their families. So I was happy, and they were satisfied. If a society no longer has class differences, and everyone's living conditions are the same, then it is equivalent to punishing diligence and rewarding laziness. The result will definitely lead to the poverty of all people. A society without wealth disparity and class existence is definitely the worst society. At the same time, the better the social welfare, the higher the taxes on capitalists, the greater the power of unions, and the higher the minimum wage standards for workers, this society is a society that deviates from the natural way. It is a very unjust and unfair society. Its direction is bound to collapse. From this, let's examine the so-called Xiaofeng-style communism. If this Xiaofeng-style communism is what we understand and envision about the concepts and practices of communist society throughout human history, then undoubtedly, Xiaofeng-style communism will certainly be a flash in the pan. It is purely utopian and will inevitably fail as it progresses. The reason why Xiaofeng-style communism has existed for over a decade under challenging conditions and is still operational is that it is definitely not the type of communism we think and imagine. It must meet the following conditions. It must allow those who think, are good at management, and provide service, to feel satisfied and happy. Every member must be wealthy in terms of spiritual and mental wealth, and there cannot be a parasite who benefits without working. Every member must be selfless, without an ego. There must be a goal that is more beautiful than the enjoyment of being human. The soul garden of every member must be beautiful, and there cannot be any emotions of jealousy, comparison, greed, resentment, etc. Its management system cannot be autocratic and centralized, nor can it be a democratic central system. It must be heavenly. Its founders and successors must not have a penny of personal property. It must be against human nature. If the above 8 points cannot be achieved, humph. Xiaofeng-style communism will definitely be a fleeting, colorful wave that rises in human society. Can it be done? The difficulty is greater than landing on Mars, let's wait and see. Another mystery of life. Xiaofeng. January 17, 2021. Someone was going to build a luxury villa somewhere, the drawings were ready, and the materials were ready. At that time, a geologist came and told him, I can tell you 100% for sure that in 4 years, there will be a big earthquake where you choose to build the villa and then all the buildings will be razed to the ground. Could you tell me, will the owner of the villa continue building it? Someone's child was admitted to a famous university in the United States, and the whole family celebrated. Then a fortune teller came and said, it's better for your child not to go to study in the United States, because in 4 years, on the day of his graduation, he will be involved in a car accident. I would like to ask, will this person still want to send his child to go to the university in the United States? Someone was going to invest 1 million yuan in a real estate business, when a stranger came and said, you'd better stop doing business in real estate. You will make 100 million in the first 10 years, but in the 11th year you will not only go bankrupt, but also be taken to prison and all your property will be confiscated. The question, is he still planning to get into the real estate business? When a person knows exactly that what he is doing will bring him misfortune in the near future, generally speaking, he will stop acting on it. The problem is that when a couple are about to conceive and give birth, they do not need to ask anyone, everyone knows that the child they give birth to will surely die when he grows up. Even if they know that the child will surely die, people will still give birth to children. Throughout the history of human beings, the vast majority of people's lives will end in tragedy, and their lives will be spent in trouble, pain, anxiety, and sorrow. Even so, people will come to the world and have a try at it. They have all devoted themselves to the hard work and struggle in life with the fluke mentality of, I will live well. Generation after generation, they have been multiplying like this, which can be described as, in the Changjiang River the waves behind drive those ahead, and, no tears will come when you do not see the coffin. Why are you so irrational? The reason is that people do not know what will happen tomorrow, so they live with hope and anticipation. They can't help themselves but are pushed by their survival instinct and by the tide. There is no other way but to do so. This is the mystery. People enter the world to experience life. The process of life is a process of experience. Apart from this, these people have nothing to gain. Knowing this mystery, we will find that the geologist, the fortune teller, and the stranger mentioned at the beginning of the article did a bad thing. They should not tell the truth to the builder, should not tell the parents what will happen to their kid who will go to school in the United States 4 years later, should not tell the one who is going to become a real estate businessman what will happen in 10 years, because the truth deprives them of the process of experiencing life. Just imagine, if you tell a newborn pig, when you grow up and you will be fattened, people will stab a knife into your heart to kill you and then they will eat you, can this pig still have a happy and joyous life? It is cruel to tell the truth. It is more in line with human nature and natural law to let people live in a daze. Even if the truth is told, few people are willing to believe it. Sometimes lies are more compassionate than the truth. Live happily. Every day should be a happy day, and life experience is very important. Are you a real man? Xie Feng. March 29, 2021. Having any of the following behaviors will reduce your manliness. Bullying those who are weaker than you. Bullying women. Flattering those in power. Being jealous of people who are superior to you. Being oppressed outside but then releasing your hostility at home. Being obedient outside but bossy at home. Having no courage to resist injustice. Intervening in internal struggles rather than to expand living spaces outside. Having any of the following behaviors will increase your manliness. Taking care of your own affairs without needing help. Making people around you happy, joyous, free, and blessed. Tolerating and caring for women but never abusing them physically or emotionally. Believing that being sympathized and pitied by others is shameful. Taking action against and refuting evil when you should. Being as gentle as a sheep at home but as capable as a tiger when outside. Never licking the asses of powerful people. Resolving malpractice issues which have always endangered societies, making vigorous efforts to improve situations, being chivalrous and unrestrained. Are you puzzled by form? Xie Feng. August 6, 2020. Buddha said that everything with form is unreal, all that is void of form is Buddha. Buddha also said not to abide our minds in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma, but to actually abide nowhere. The article, The Xie Feng Pirate Ship Has Set Sail, frightened a Buddhist student. Reading the expressions, beauty kidnappers, and love affair makers seemed as a change of color. Reading, seducing, and flirting scared the wits out of the student. Who is the one, professed love of what one actually fears? Puzzled by names and forms without seeing their essence, puzzled by dharma without seeing the law. A bowl of bird's nest porridge, whether it is called horse urine or dog shit soup, is still nutritious bird's nest porridge. Whether you call celestials vulgar or elegant, they are still celestials. Tao that can be described, is not absolute Tao. Names that can be given, are not absolute names. Buddha has no absolute dharma. But Buddha's dharma always varies according to the situation. When the highest type of followers hears Tao, the truth, they try hard to live in accordance with it. When mediocre types hear Tao, they seem to be aware and yet unaware of it. When the lowest types hear Tao, they break into loud laughter. If it is not laughed at, it is not Tao. When they do not command faith, some will lose faith in them. Those who lack faith in Xiafeng will find many other things with which to lack faith. Mere humans are always obstructed by their own ideas. Sophisticates are always fascinated by names and forms, alas. The vulgar are knowing and luminous, I alone am confused and dull. The vulgar are clever and self-assured, I alone am depressed. As people, we should not pursue justice and fairness. Zufeng. October 9, 2020. As a person, it is a mistake to pursue justice and fairness in life. I have lived in China, Africa, Oceania with Aboriginal people, and now in North America. During the 20 years of building life at Chanyuan, I finally found that life itself is very just and fair and that no one is wronged. Therefore, it is known that Tao is most just and fair, that the fairness and justice pursued by people are unnecessary, and that it is not only redundant, but also creates inequality and trouble. He lives in a villa, driving a luxury car while I live in a thatched house without even a bike. This is unfair, someone said. I said, what you see is unfair, but people are suffering from cancer and diabetes. Is it also unfair that you have neither? If someone has cancer, would it be fairer if you shared it? Others were imprisoned and their properties were confiscated. Would it not be fairer if you were also locked away? Is it not unfair that people have been living in heaven but you have to live in this world? Since you seek fairness, why do you not keep your faith unchanged, make constant contributions, and stick to truth, goodness, beauty, love, faith, honesty and peace even while suffering, enduring hardships, and in distress like others? It might be unfair for the Tang monk to become a Buddha but for you to not, but then why did you hide in your comfort zone and not go through adventures as the Tang monk went through his hardships? I wanted to create a new oasis for life in the island country of Vanuatu, but I found that although the indigenous people lead simple lives, not only were they lazy, but they were also greedy. They did not want to pay, but just wanted to get, and they were short-sighted. Finally, I gave up the idea of building a new oasis for life there. I lived in Africa for more than 10 years. Not only is Africa beautiful, but it is also rich, so why is it still poor and backward? This is a human problem. People are too greedy and keen on petty theft. If all they want is to get something for nothing, then how can they not remain poor and backward? I have lived in China for most of my life. Primitive Africans tribes still maintain their simplicity, but that of the Chinese people has all but disappeared. Everyone has become very shrewd, not only the city people, but even those in the remotest villages have become very shrewd. Moreover, most Chinese are generally not grateful. Not only do they not pay their debts of gratitude, but they also think about how to take their benefactors' things as their own, such as how they treat the United States. How much welfare has the United States brought to China? Not to mention the Tsinghua University and Peking Union Medical College Hospital which were built with American aid, the United States trained several million scientific, technological, and entrepreneurial management talents for China. Now, everyone uses mobile phones that are patented in the United States, let alone electric lights, HD TVs, supermarkets, and much, much more. Have we been grateful for this? Not only have we been ungrateful, but we have also scolded the United States to death. Everyone studies mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology, but from where have we gotten the knowledge of these disciplines? All are from the West. On one hand, we enjoy the welfare of others, but on the other one, we scold them. Is it smart, ignorant, or ungrateful? In addition, if we look at social media groups, we find that almost everyone is a judge and a master. We draw conclusions and judge people with no deep understanding of them. We regard ourselves masters and try to guide others after we have learned very little spiritual understanding. People accuse the government of being autocratic, but the reality is that everyone is really that way. Even beggars want to dictate and rule over other beggars. Are Chinese parents not autocratic dictators over their children? Between married couples, do both not try to rule and dictate over each other? So, the status of the indigenous people of Africa and China shows nothing about unjustness or unfairness. From the creation of Life Achanuan to the new Oasis for Life, I have found that China is suffering from severe disasters, but what about the inequities created by everyone? Each generation must eat the bitter fruit left from the previous one, and no one can escape that. What about the life mode of the new Oasis for Life? Who can say that it is not good? The government wants to destroy it, but to where would they wish to take our people? Can you sit down and argue with Xiafeng? China has 90 million Communist Party members, each of whom swore to fight for the realization of communism throughout their lifetimes, but have they praised the emergence of the communist seedling on the Chinese earth? Have they encouraged it, or are they the ones who professed love of what they actually feared? Are the common people pursuing better lives? What kind of good life are you pursuing? Is it better than those within the new Oasis for Life of Life Achanuan? People. Cheating yourself is enough. Do not try to cheat and anesthetize others. We are all Chinese, we know each other. This is it. After living in North America for several years, I feel that it offers the best life for me, though I have no love for capitalism, nor do I recognize that the American and Canadian lifestyle is the most ideal one for mankind, but Westerners enjoy more than any others in any other part of the world. It is not unjust or unfair, but determined by people's quality. People talk about the decline of the United States, the rise of the East, and the 21st century being the one for China, but it seems so absurd to me. I have nothing to say to those people who are mentally masturbating so absurdly. What are unrealistic dreams? The ones that people are having now come pretty close. Everything happening on earth is fair and just, the status quo of each country is and everyone's present situation is. The ancestor of Buddha, the greatest creator, has never wronged any nationality, any country, or any person. Therefore, people should not pursue justice and fairness because no one can create either one. Avoiding collisions. Xiafeng. March 27, 2024. Fruits, potatoes, and sweet potatoes, among others, should not be allowed to bump into each other, as the areas of impact are likely to rot. Vehicles such as cars, ships, and airplanes should avoid collisions. Once a collision occurs, they will suffer deformation and damage. Tribes, nations, and countries should avoid conflicts. The outcome of such conflicts often results in mutual defeat, or one party being dominated by the other. Even hard materials like stones and steel can fragment or even break when they collide with each other. From this, it's clear that in human interactions, people should also strive to avoid conflicts. Conflicts inevitably lead to harm, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional. Any part of the body, once injured due to a collision, can lead to disability and lifelong consequences. When people resort to name-calling, belittling, insulting, and attacking each other with harsh, vulgar, and negative words, it damages both their spirits and souls. As the saying goes, hatred sown in the heart will sprout. This hatred can last a lifetime, and given the opportunity, revenge is almost inevitable. Quarrels, arguments, and debates between people are essentially forms of conflict. While bystanders may find inspiration or even benefit from them, the party who loses in these disputes can end up feeling defeated, much like the losing rooster in a cockfight, leading to depression and difficulty recovering. This is a form of harm. One of the differences between earthly life and the life in heaven is that on earth, people are constantly in conflict with each other, whereas in heaven, conflicts among people do not exist. Therefore, to determine whether a person possesses heavenly qualities, observe whether they are constantly in conflict with others. Even occasional conflicts suggest a lack of these heavenly qualities. Those who are constantly involved in quarrels, arguments, and debates have no place in heaven. Behaviors such as condemnation, nitpicking, belittling, criticizing, questioning, cursing, insulting, and attacking others are all forms of conflict that can hurt the other party. However, the principle of every action has an equal and opposite reaction applies here, and the person initiating the conflict will also inevitably suffer an equal amount of damage. Therefore, on the journey of life, especially on the path to heaven, it is essential to strive to avoid conflicts. Be always grateful. Cultural building of the second home Part 2. Xiefeng. Gratitude is the primary element for the sublimation of the quality of life. To become Chanyuan celestial, one must be grateful. To enter the second home, one must be grateful. How can one not be grateful for escaping the program of the secular world and enjoying the great pleasure of life in the second home? What else do we want? The second home takes charge of our food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, aging, illness, and health, and we need not toil and worry about supporting the old and raising the young. Our work is simple, and we need not be overloaded with trifles. With a lot of sisters, brothers, and lovers, we are no longer lonely and solitary. With free and open love, we are no longer depressed, melancholy, and distressed. Since we have achieved the state of having nothing and at the same time possessing everything, we need no longer worry about possession. Since we have the stage to fully exhibit our personality and talent, we no longer need to fear that our talent will not be put to good use. Since we are far away from the secular world, we no longer feel anxious about the intrigue, scheming and cheating between each other. Since we have our guide to lead us, we need not worry about the future of our life. What else do we want? Man should not be greedy. Do you think there is an end to it if you still feel unsatisfied when living in such a cultural atmosphere and environment, still feel that you have not treated yourself fairly, still dislike this or that, still make endless complaints, and find faults with everything? Without a sense of gratitude, you will have an insatiable desire, you will feel unsatisfied, you will grumble with complaints, you will make trouble, you will become lazy, you will be fastidious, you will have a bee in your bonnet, you will feel only you are capable, you will feel others owe you a lot, you will complain and find faults, you will try to control and hold others in sway, you will stir up trouble and sow discord between people, you will hurt others in words, you will cause endless trouble and suffering to your sisters, brothers, and lovers, and you will not be able to concentrate on your work. With a sense of gratitude, you will have a clear consciousness and mind, you will not ask for too much, you will not keep your eyes on other people's shortcomings, you will not loaf around without anything to do and without anything on mind, you will not attempt to control and usurp others, you will not attempt to impose your own will upon others, you will not restrict others' joy, happiness, blessing and freedom, you will not have jealousy, complaint and comparison, you will not lose temper and have a lot of discontent and grievances, you will not feel that others are bullying and restraining you, and you will not be disheartened and listless when you meet some setbacks. With a sense of gratitude, you will bring joy and pleasure to others and yourself, you will not feel the poverty and hardship of life, you will not feel depression, you will feel everything is wonderful and satisfying, you will be broad-minded and refreshed, you will have unselfish love and devotion, you will always compliment and encourage others instead of finding fault and complaining to others. You will be forgiving and tolerant to others' mistakes and faults, you will form harmonious, amiable and loving relationship with the environment and people, and you will have great enthusiasm and passion and devote completely to the cause of man's happiness. Before we realize our ideals, we should always keep in mind that none of us is perfect and we all need further sublimation, and that we should not stop at where we were yesterday. Since neither we ourselves nor others are perfect, we should forgive and tolerate each other, while tolerance derives from the gratitude in our soul. The sense of gratitude in every Chanyuan celestial should be a cultural characteristic of the second home. As long as we have a sense of gratitude, there will be no mountain of flame that we cannot climb across, there will be no difficulty that we cannot overcome, and there will be no temporary plight that we cannot put up with, because the sense of gratitude can reach heaven and earth and human nature. As long as we have the sense of gratitude, we will get the love from Buddha and the greatest creator, and we can get out of the temporary plight and change for the better. Be always grateful over everything and eventually you will reach your ideal destination. Be frank and honest. Cultural building of the second home. Part 3. Xiefeng. We should put an end to autocracy and dictatorship. We shall make sure that all kind, hard-working, simple, and faithful people enjoy pleasant, joyful, free, and happy life, and we will build a good culture and environment, where there is no oppression, no exploitation, no suppression, no destruction, no maltreatment, no infliction, and no discrimination, where all people are equal, people care and love each other and live harmoniously, and where people share weal and woe. Firstly, people who speak frankly shall not be subject to revenge and retaliation and threat. Anyone who has some opinion to contribute shall be encouraged, respected, heard, and paid attention to, as long as he is speaking the truth, as long as he is not deliberately provocative and does not make groundless speculation, as long as he is not unreasonable and does not talk nonsense, as long as he does not aim to stir up trouble and instigate, as long as he does not create difficulties and form a clique to pursue selfish interest, as long as he does not attack for personal spite, as long as he does not expose others' privacy and land them in an embarrassing situation. Since the guide Xiefeng plays a critical role in this second home of ours, and I myself is not perfect, you should be strict with me, so that you can prevent the guide from becoming an unsatiable autocrat and destroying this beautiful home that has been built with your hard work. Every sister, brother and lover should speak out frankly, help me, and save me instead of fomenting my mistakes whenever he or she discovers that I practice favoritism, that I take advantage of my power to bully people, that I maltreat any Chanyuan celestial, that I deviate from the values of Chanyuan, that I reserve privileges for myself, that I threaten or harm anybody, or that I have caused the harm of spirit, soul, and flesh to any sister or brother. If my words and behaviors have offended you, please point them out frankly, and do not let me be misled and mistakenly think that you like my words and behaviors, to such an extent that I become swellhead and always have my way. Please tell me frankly if I have not handled affairs fairly, if I take part with someone, or if I practice bureaucratism and oppression. If I retaliate somebody for his frankness, then I have degenerated into a demon. Then the guide has lost his reason and is not worth trusting. We should speak frankly about the guide. We should also speak frankly about every Chanyuan celestial in the home. No one in this home can be left out. Everyone should accept others' frank opinion. Anyone who harbors discontent and hatred for others' kind and frank words and resort to retaliation is not sincerely engaging in self-refinery and self-cultivation and thus should be criticized by the guide. The best way for frank speech is to reserve one night every week for a meeting of exchange in the home. Everyone shall speak frankly in the public if they have some opinions concerning some matter, if they feel that they are wronged, if they feel that they are not treated fairly, if they feel that they have sustained someone's maltreatment and harms to their spirit, soul and flesh, or if they find that the sister or brother of the home has deviated the values of Chanyuan in speech and actions. All problems should be resolved publicly instead of privately. We should build a culture in which everyone can speak frankly. We Chanyuan celestials should all be superhuman. He will not be a qualified Chanyuan celestial and a frank person if he does not speak frankly about the wrongs, unfair treatment, and oppression he has suffered. A person who does not speak frankly is absolutely not an honest person. He is either a cunning and sly double dealer or a good-for-nothing. With the exception of privacies, everything in the second home should be transparent and exposed to the sunlight. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to create the era of life Chanyuan for mankind, and we will not be entitled to guide the whole mankind. Privileged class and special interest groups are not allowed in the second home. At the same time, we should not practice egalitarianism, because we have the noblest wish in self-refinery and self-cultivation, and everything that we do is for the sake of perfecting ourselves and reaching the best realm of life and life. We do not aim to obtain any personal benefit and interest from the home. Open the windows and the sunlight and fresh air will come in, take a broad view and you will see faraway mountains are fresh and green. If everybody speaks frankly, the dark cloud will be dispersed and decay will be turned into miracle. Then we can create an ideal environment and a beautiful future, set an example for mankind and eventually realize our most beautiful future. Believe in and rely on the home, cultural building of the second home part 5. Xiefeng. At home we rely on our parents, in the society we depend on our friends. This is one part of the traditional culture. To survive and develop in the actual human society, people mainly depend on interpersonal relations: parents, husband, wife, children, sisters and brothers, relatives and friends, classmates and associates, leaders and subordinates, and so on. As a result, the relations between people become extremely complicated and entangled. If anything adverse happens to the relation that you depend on, it may trigger a series of interpersonal disputes and emotional turmoil: concessions, resignation to exploitation, suppression and depression, oppression and exploitation, jealousy and complaint, resentment, intrigue against each other, scheming against each other, contention, flattery, cheating, rising to bait, anger and revenge, abuse and maltreatment, mental torture, control of the soul, and the like. Once you change and place your trust on the second home, all these ugly phenomena will disperse like dark clouds. Every Chanyuan celestial's food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, health and diseases are taken care of by the home, the elderly people are supported by the home, the children are raised and educated by the home, and the freedom of emotional love and sex love is guaranteed by the home. The home provides the stage for every Chanyuan celestial to fully exhibit their ambition and talent. Thus, we can surely shift from our dependence on interpersonal relations in the traditional culture to the dependence on the home. Accordingly, interpersonal relations will become pure and simple, natural and harmonious. People will live in happiness and love. We should build our belief in and dependence on the greatest creator, the home and ourselves. We should not believe in and depend on man. Belief in and dependence on man will lead to tragedy of life, and a series of bewilderment and pain. Belief in and dependence on man will prove to be our own and others' encumbrance and spiritual burden. Belief in and dependence on man will surely make one become the servant and sacrifice of others and make it impossible to lead a life of one's own. How do we believe in and depend on the home? We shall regard the home as the place where we can settle down and lead a quiet life, as the stage where we can fully utilize our talents, as the best environment where we can obtain joy, happiness, freedom and blessing, and as the fertile soil where we can bring into full play our sincerity, kindnesses, virtue, love, faith, and honesty. We shall regard each Chanyuan celestial as our sisters, brother, relative and lover. Love the home, unselfishly devote one's talent and wisdom to the home, carefully and conscientiously do every job that one has chosen in the home according to one's interest and hobbies, strive to do his or her best and achieve the best performance, contribute every day to the home more than one gets from it, meanwhile continuously sublimate the quality of life, perfect his or her own non-material structure of life, continuously make way to the highest realm of life, and realize one long-cherished wish and ideal. How can we believe in and depend on the home? Upholding 800 values for new era human being is the fundamental guarantee for the realization of the wish of the individual and the ideal of the home. Breaking out of the program circles set by others. Xiefeng. January 29, 2023. I installed a towel rack yesterday, which gave me a revelation. If I followed the manufacturer's complicated installation process, I would have had a difficult time installing it and it may not have even been successful. So, I thought, it's just a towel rack, why must I follow the manufacturer's installation process? I discarded almost all of the parts that the manufacturer provided and thought of a solution that followed the principle of least resistance. In the end, I easily installed the towel rack, and it not only looked sturdy but also perfect. Think about our lives. We are born into this world and must live until we eventually enter the grave. We only have a few decades to navigate the great river of life. Where can we find the easiest and simplest path through this journey? Think about all those celebrities, officials, wealthy individuals, experts, professors, judges, lawyers, and so on. No matter how illustrious and honorable their lives may have been, they also only lived for a few decades. Once they die, they become nothing. Those who live their lives in a constant rush, busy pursuing their goals, before they know it, they are old and about to enter the grave. They competed and struggled throughout their lives, only to have everything they gained become nothing. If we play out the process of human birth to death, we will discover that human life is both sad and pitiful. Some people take pride and arrogance in the prosperity of their descendants, but what is pitiful is that they themselves have only been living in a dream. As they die, their dreams shatter, and few of their descendants will visit their graves to burn incense and pay their respects. Even if their descendants come to burn incense and pay respects every day, they will never feel the memory and mourning of their offspring. Let's take a look at the life trajectory of an ordinary person: birth, education, work, marriage, children, supporting their family and children, retirement, and then death. What have they experienced throughout this journey? They have experienced joy, sickness, struggle, sexual happiness, fatigue, hardship, anxiety, worry, pain, anger, frustration, and fear. We suddenly realize that human life is simply replicating the path of our predecessors. Except for changes in tools and material prosperity, the essence of human existence has hardly changed. Have you noticed? Everyone is following someone else's programmed circle, just like home buyers taking out loans and making monthly payments according to the program designed by the seller and the bank, being misled by the program into having unrealistic dreams. And marriage, starting a family, having children, and retirement are all programs designed by others, and the vast majority of people spend their entire lives in this magical program. I discarded the manufacturer's design and complex program and installed the towel rack in a simpler and easier way. To make life more valuable and meaningful, one must step out of the program's circle designed by others, otherwise they can only follow in the footsteps of those who came before. In life, there are only two things that are most valuable and meaningful: one is to make oneself happy, and the other is to find the path to heaven. Everything else is nonsense. From the perspective of maintaining happiness and finding the path to heaven, 95% of people spend their lives talking nonsense, doing nonsense, and worrying and being anxious about nonsense. Build great faith, cultural building of the second home Part 1. Xiefeng. The type of faith will decide the type of soul, the type of soul will decide the type of culture, and the type of culture will decide the way of life and production and the operation mechanism of society. The cultural construction in the second home of Life Echanuan has a direct bearing upon our way of life and production and operation mechanism of society, and has a direct bearing upon whether we can ascend to the highest realm of life and realize our ultimate ideal. The paramount principle for the cultural construction of the second home is the building of great faith, the great faith in Buddha and the greatest creator, the great faith in Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, immortal Lao Tzu, the Prophet Muhammad, and the great man Mao Zedong, and the great faith in the guide Xiefeng. Without these three great faiths, it will be impossible to build healthy culture, and people will lose their direction, and will fall asunder and plunge into chaos. The resulting internal strife will waste time, energy, material, and mental efforts. As a result, it will be impossible to pioneer the era of Life Echanuan, in which the worthy person can fully utilize his talents. The whole world is like one family, no one will keep lost articles found on the roadside, and the houses need not be bolted at night, in which everything will be in complete harmony, the weather will be good for harvest, and everyone will be happy, free, and pleasant, and in which all methods are unified into one general principle and all religions are unified into one uniform religion. What is great faith? Great faith is complete belief and trust without any suspicion. Great faith means trusting what you understand and what you do not understand for the moment. Every Chanyuan celestial must read The Greatest Creator thoroughly, and then read Revelation in connection with his or her life experience, so as to build great faith in the greatest Creator. Without the great faith, it is like water without source and wood without root. Every Chanyuan celestial must read Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Gospel of Judas and have profound knowledge of Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, and Tao Te Ching, worship Muhammad and Islamic spirit, learn Mao Zedong's spirit of serving the people with heart and soul, form the most sublime wish and build the great faith in Jesus Christ, Sakyamuni, Lao Tzu, Muhammad, and Mao Zedong. Every Chanyuan celestial should read Chanyuan Corpus and Xiafeng Corpus thoroughly, know about the guide Xiafeng and build the great faith in the guide Xiafeng. You can ask yourself who in this world can inherit and carry forward the wisdom of God, Buddha, celestial being, sages and saints in a comparatively systematic and complete manner. Who can build a systematic and complete and comprehensive theoretical system on the origin of the universe, the origin of life, the origin of mankind, the time and space of the universe, life and science, who can practically lead people away from the sea of tribulations. Who can make people sleep well, eat well, and play well, and both eliminate their fear, worry and anxiety over food, clothing, shelter, transportation, living, illness and death, and at the same time make sure they fully exhibit their personality and enjoy the pleasure of life. Who can create a beautiful environment where there is both unified will and pleasant feeling, and where there is no suppression, exploitation, bullying, and oppression. Who knows the secrets of the heavenly kingdom and leads people towards and ultimately into the heavenly kingdom. Certainly Xiafeng can do this. If you would not believe in such kind of a person, then may I ask what else we can believe in and who else we can believe in. Comparison can tell who is superior and who is inferior. You can make a comparison of all people in the history of mankind and all people of the present time. If any one of them can surpass Xiafeng in words and actions, then you can abandon the guide Xiafeng immediately. Faith is truth, love is life. Faith can accomplish everything. Small faith accomplishes small thing, great faith accomplishes great thing. Without faith one will not know what course to take and will accomplish nothing. With great faith, you can overcome all difficulties and hardships in life, you can light up the magical lamp in your heart and illuminate the road ahead, you can get rid of passivity, pessimism and form a positive and optimistic attitude, and you can pursue the sun and get away from darkness, and finally reach the soul mountain indomitably. We should build this cultural atmosphere, namely the great faith in the greatest creator, the great faith in Jesus Christ, Buddha Sakyamuni, the immortal Lao Tzu, the Prophet Muhammad, and the great man Mao Zedong, and the great faith in the guide of life Chanyuan Xiafeng. This is the core of culture building of the second home. Call for the U.S. to unconditionally accept illegal border crossers. May 14, 2023. Xiafeng. Hello, America. According to online news, on May 11, the U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security announced during a White House briefing that illegal border crossers would be deported. As a common citizen, I appeal to the U.S. to unconditionally accept illegal border crossers, for the following reasons. If legal entry were possible, no one would choose to cross the border illegally. Illegality is a result of being forced, not a choice made by individuals. When people feel hopeless and have no other options for survival, any non-violent, illegal means for survival are legal. The so-called law that blocks people's livelihood is itself illegal. A person who travels 1,000 miles or even 10,000 miles and endures countless hardships to seek refuge in the U.S., but is refused entry and then deported as illegal, is inhumane, cruel, and unworthy of respect. With abundant resources and as the world's leading superpower, the U.S. has the capacity and ability to accept illegal border crossers. As long as they can survive in their own country, few people are willing to risk their lives and travel great distances to seek refuge in the U.S. Those who come to you have already trusted you. Do not reject those who trust you, otherwise, any claims of democracy, freedom, human rights, and the rule of law are all false. Don't assume that all illegal immigrants are coming to reap the benefits of America's economic prosperity. If you accept them, 95% of illegal border crossers will become diligent wealth creators and steadfast defenders of the American system. The fewer people who abandon you, the more who come to you, the greater your glory. Glory is a noble symbol. The more illegal border crossers you accept, the more dignity and strength you will have. The whole world is watching you. If you deport illegal border crossers, you are extinguishing the flicker of hope in the hearts of the kind, hard-working masses of the world. You will betray the creed of, "In God we trust," and lead to decline. He who wins the hearts of the people wins the world. He who loses the hearts of the people loses the world. Where the people's hearts go, there will be prosperity, civilization, strength, and eternal life. Where the people's hearts do not go, there will be poverty, ignorance, barbarism, and backwardness. May you be a land where the people's hearts go, rather than where their hearts do not. Check and see if you are on the way to heaven. Xiefeng. February 1st, 2021. I clearly remember an evening in the summer of 1963. At that time, there were no newspapers, no radios, and of course no TVs and mobile phones. People's knowledge was passed on through chatting. At that time, every evening after dinner, the adults gathered together to brag and chat. The children either sat or stood quietly listening to the adults bragging, or just ran around and played. The reason why I can clearly remember that evening is because an uncle said, "When it is noontime where we are, it is midnight in some places. When it is summer where we are, it is winter in some places." I remember that everyone burst into laughter and said that uncle is whimsical and what he is saying is nonsense. In the thinking of people in the countryside at that time, as long as where I am is daytime, everywhere is daytime, and as long as what I feel is summer, it is summer everywhere else on earth. Then, when I say that there is a heaven in the universe, and that heavens are different everywhere, would you say that I am whimsical and talking nonsense? Do you think that heaven is the same as on earth? If I say that there is no sun and no night in the 1,000-year world of heaven, and the sun in the 10,000-year world of heaven is always fixed in the same place, and everything in the Elysium Celestial Islands continent is created by transformation, do you think I am out of my mind? People's understanding of the great world is based on their own limited cognition, and to understand the infinite world with limited cognition is like a blind man trying to figure out what an elephant is by just touching one part of it. The first time I went abroad was to Zimbabwe, Africa, where I felt the beauty of heaven for the first time. On the third day in Zimbabwe, I secretly made up my mind that I would never leave Zimbabwe again. I stayed there for 17 years. What I want to say is that there is an infinitely beautiful place in this universe that no one can imagine, and that is heaven. Now, please check if you are on your way to heaven. There are 3 steps to see if you have crossed the path to heaven. The first step, you often yearn for distance. You feel that there are respectable, amiable, and lovable people in the distance, and there are endless beautiful sceneries in the distance. You love life, but you feel that you are a little out of place with the environment that you are in. You are busy every day for your survival, but deep in your heart, you do not like, even hate this kind of rushing. Inside, you do not like to work for money, power, status, and reputation. You just want to be happy, joyous, free, and blessed in life. You hate to see people controlling other people, hate being swayed and controlled by people and your environment. You hope that one day there will be a great person in your life who will take you far away, to a place you have missed very much. When you have these thoughts and feelings, you are actually on the way to heaven. The second step, you do not want to get married, you instinctively hate family life, you want to escape from marriage and family life, from the people you know before your eyes, you do not want to fight for the few people in front of you, you are crying inside, you feel very tired, you are eagerly looking for another way and channel out for yourself through the internet and WeChat and other media. You do not want to foster secular ties with anyone anymore. You like light association with people instead of deep ones, but in your heart, you are willing to meet a beloved one to whom you can deliver your whole body and soul. You are struggling between ideals and reality, hoping to end your current life trajectory and to immediately step into another unfamiliar field that is completely different from that of your past, the field that you have been waiting for a long time. When you think, feel, and work toward your ideal direction and goal, you are already on the way to heaven. The third step, you have completely stepped out the maze of affection. You are working hard to end your secular ties. You are actively and optimistically accumulating mental and spiritual wealth. You are pulling out the jealousy, comparison, complaining, anger and other weeds and toxic weeds from your soul garden. You start to feel only the messages that make you happy. You are gradually moving away from the concepts and shackles of country, nation, political party, religion, and family and are looking for people who resonate with your own wishes. Happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness have become the norm in your daily life. You will never hurt anyone, any life, and the natural environment. You are especially eager to integrate into the idyllic life of nature as soon as possible, to live a life of working and resting as the sun rises and sets, where no one pockets anything found on the ground, and doors are not bolted at night. All these phenomena show that you are on your way to heaven. Whether or not you can go to heaven has nothing to do with your diploma, wisdom, status, wealth, appearance, reputation, whether you have read the scriptures or chanted sutras, whether you have formally acknowledged someone as your master, and met many masters and capable persons, and has nothing to do with whether you are talkative and eloquent, has nothing to do with how many good deeds you have done in the past. It is only related to your nature of Tathagata, and is closely related to your state of mind. May the wise men who are walking on the road to heaven not hesitate and not stop in their steps. As long as they are sincere and continue to trek and climb, they will be able to achieve their dreams and realize their ideals to reach heaven. Choose the hardest path. Xiefeng. February 13, 2024. Let's consider the following 8 paths, and we choose which one to take. Herding sheep, selling sheep, building houses, marrying, having children, and letting children herd more sheep. Farming, selling harvested grains or vegetables and fruits, earning some money to build a house, marry, have children, let children go to university, and let children leave the countryside. Working for a boss year after year, earning a monthly salary, and maintaining the livelihood of the whole family. Striving to be a civil servant, working for the state, receiving a decent monthly salary, and maintaining the livelihood of the whole family. Opening a shop, whether it's reselling clothes, shoes, socks, hardware, electrical appliances, groceries, or engaging in catering or repair. The monthly income is higher than working for a private boss or the state, and you can live a comfortable life. Running a company and doing business, no matter what you do, as long as you employ more than 8 people to work for you, that's a company or enterprise, and you can live a moderately comfortable life. Engaging in finance, opening a bank, letting other people's money circulate through your hands, extracting a bit of commission, and you will have a steady stream of money, and you can live a very comfortable life. Being an official, a high-ranking official, using power to control more resources, you will benefit infinitely, and the benefits are endless. The above are 8 paths in traditional industries, and the following are 8 paths in non-traditional industries. Live streaming to sell goods, as long as you can live stream on the internet, whether it's preaching Buddhism or showing nudity, maximizing traffic, the more fans, the greater the value, not to mention selling goods, collecting advertising fees can bring in a lot of money. Running study classes, based on your own fame and knowledge or professional qualifications, seize people's inner desires to run study classes, let people pay fees, the bigger the fame, the more expensive the fees, you will get rich quickly. Creating a platform, in the era of mobile internet, as long as you set up a platform on the internet, let some people with needs achieve their goals through your platform. Each time a goal is achieved, collect a commission, money will flow into your pocket like a stream. Reselling information and resources, any information, as long as it is not public, can be converted into money. Steal information from somewhere, and then sell it to people who need information. You can make money. The more confidential the information, the more valuable it is. Obtain some kind of resource, and then sell the resource to people who need it. You can get a large or huge amount of money at once. Being a master, according to scientific research, 20% of people are brainless, In today's era, knowledge in any field can be obtained instantly from the internet, especially with the birth of ChatGPT-4. Whatever knowledge you want, it can push it to you instantly. In this way, as long as you pretend to be a master, and then show off the knowledge given by ChatGPT, people will believe you and become your followers. Making money from followers is a business with no cost and high profit. Creating communication software. As long as you can program, you can create a large amount of software programs, from enterprise data management to games to social networking, from cloud computing to national defense, big data to dating between men and women. As long as you design and create it, people will buy and participate, and there is money to be made. Being a hacker, invading the internal information library of others or an organization, retrieving information, and then converting the information into your own income, such as retrieving someone's bank information. You can easily transfer the money in someone else's bank to your own hands. Retrieving the corruption information or lewd information of a high official. You can use this to blackmail the high official to meet your own needs. Establishing an invisible empire. Anyone, from the president to the billionaire, from the Nobel Prize winner to the celebrity, has their own weaknesses or worth. As long as you pinch the weakness, they can obediently obey. As long as you offer enough benefits, people can sell their souls. Of course, this is something that people with extraordinary high IQ can do. So, which of the above traditional and non-traditional industries is the easiest and which is the hardest? The answer is, the first one is the easiest, the eighth one is the hardest. From the first to the eighth, the difficulty increases gradually. We will find that the easier the thing is to do, the less promising it is, the more likely it is to survive at the bottom of society, the more fragile its living conditions are, the more likely it is to be restricted and hit by the survival rules of the human-animal circle. Just like a pyramid, the lower you are, the greater the weight and pressure you bear, the harder it is to survive. This enlightens us that the lower you are in society, the harder the path you should choose from a young age. Never choose the easiest path, because once you choose the easy path, the result is that you will suffer and be tired all your life. At the bottom of society, in addition to the exploitation of the upper class, the harm at the lower level is even worse. Just like a poor family, the quarrels, conflicts, and confrontations between family members are more than those between members of a wealthy family. So, what is the hardest path in human society? The answer is, surpass the president and billionaires and enter the kingdom of freedom. 2024. Confession of Life, A Genuine Guide 2024. Xiefeng. February 18, 2024. Apart from understanding and knowing the path from the mortal world to the 1,000-year world, 10,000-year world, and celestial islands continent of the Elysium world, I confess that I lack knowledge in all other areas. Therefore, I have the following confessions. I will not collaborate with any individual, group, organization, political party, religion, or country. Therefore, do not seek collaboration with me. You handle your affairs, and I will handle mine. Your actions will not affect me, and my actions will not affect you. I do not seek assistance from any individual, group, organization, political party, religion, or country. My affairs are matters of the greatest Creator. I rely solely on the greatest Creator, not on others. Therefore, no one should harbor thoughts such as, I want to help the guide, or I am helping the guide. You handle your affairs, and I will handle mine. What and how you choose to do is your business, not mine, and my business is not your business. No one should offer me advice or suggestions, nor prompt or instruct me on what to do and how to do it. I have a clear understanding of what I am doing, what I want to do, and how I will do it. I do not need anyone's prompts, suggestions, or ideas. My only concern is how people can live to become celestial beings and how life can ascend to heaven. I do not concern myself with the affairs of any country, government leader, religion, or political party. I am not a saint, nor am I a good or bad person, neither kind nor evil. Therefore, I do not concern myself with the world's pain and joy, nor with anyone's basic needs, birth, aging, sickness, and death. I will neither help nor harm people. Anyone who studies the Chanyuan corpus and Xiefeng corpus does so voluntarily, not because I require or force them to. Anyone who propagates the Chanyuan values and the second home lifestyle does so consciously and voluntarily, not because I arrange or require it. If you benefit from the corpus and its propagation, that is your blessing and the result of your efforts. Therefore, do not praise or extol me, because your benefit has nothing to do with me. Similarly, if you suffer, sin, and tire from the corpus and its propagation, that is your own doing, and it has nothing to do with me. I am only responsible for guiding Chanyuan celestials, and I am not responsible for anyone who is not a Chanyuan celestial. The rise and fall of the world may be the responsibility of every individual, but it has nothing to do with me. The so-called guidance of Chanyuan celestials is merely writing articles. As for how Chanyuan celestials act and what they say, it all depends on their own enlightenment and voluntary action. I will not arrange or require anyone to do or say anything. What Chanyuan celestials want to say and do is entirely their own business, not mine. If my previous statements and actions contradict the content above, that is entirely my mistake. This will be the standard moving forward. The above confession is intended to inform everyone, including Chanyuan celestials, that anyone wishing to communicate with me should only discuss life and life. Avoid discussing any other topics, as this can minimize communication costs, and greatly save time and energy. Apart from life and life, I do not comprehend the rest, nor do I wish to. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. Conflicts occur between barbarism and between barbarism and civilization. Xiefeng. March 23, 2021. Conflicts will occur between barbarism and between barbarism and civilization, but no conflicts will occur between civilization and civilization. If we see two people, two tribes, two ethnic groups or two countries fighting, there is no doubt that either both are barbaric, or one is barbaric and the other is civilized, but there will never be a conflict between two civilizations. If the fight between the two parties is extremely brutal, it must be a conflict between two groups of barbarians. If the fighting between the two parties is not so cruel and sometimes a compromise is made, and occasionally there is a truce, but overall, the fighting always continues, it must be a conflict between barbarism and civilization. Where there is conflict, there must be barbarism. The so-called barbarian is not keeping promises, not following rules, not fulfilling a contract, always wanting to take advantage of the other party, always wanting to control the other party, and always wanting to take the other party's possessions as his own. If there was a conflict between two people, and each believed that he was right, but in terms of the nature of the conflict, either the two people were both barbarians, or one of them must be a barbarian, it is impossible for both of them to be civilized. From this we can draw the conclusion that those who often clash with other people must be barbarians and are definitely not civilized people. Generally speaking, it is the barbarian who acts unjustly and forcefully in a conflict. The more one is good at compromising and self-reflecting, the more civilized they must be.